I've just updated my audio interface. So when you open the Mini Fuse, you get the Mini Fuse 4 itself. You get a braided USB-A to USB-C cable to connect it to the host. You get a DC power brick. Now, most of these audio interfaces are bus powered, which means that they will run quite happily off the power pulled out of a USB socket that's from the host. However, once you start plugging other devices into it, so there's more power draw, the available power from a USB socket isn't always sufficient. So having the power brick certainly makes life a little bit easier because that power issue is taken away. In addition to these items, there's a glossy piece of paper in the box which includes the bundled software that you can download from Arturia's website. Now, this software is all for desktop. I use iPad for most of my music production, and therefore none of these will work on there. There's no iPad software bundled with it. Now, the first thing I did when I unboxed the Mini Fuse 4 was to connect it to my Mac in order to update the firmware on the device. To my knowledge, it's not possible to update the firmware via iPad. On the iPad, because the device is class compliant, it is literally plug and play. You plug it straight into the iPad recognises what it is and can use it immediately. So let's talk about how I've got everything connected up. So we've got my iPad, which is then connected to a camera connection kit or a basic USB hub, so I can put power through to the iPad whilst connecting other devices. So the only other device other than the power added is the Mini Fuse 4 itself, and that's connected via the USB cable provided. All other devices which I need are then connected through the Mini Fuse itself. So if we start on the front, we've got the first two input channels, which are 1 and 2. They are dual purpose XLR and 5¼ inch jacks. There is phantom power for your microphone should that be required, and both channels have a gain knob, so you can control the incoming signal and adjust it so it doesn't clip or blow out. Next to these are the pair of VU meters, obviously 4 inputs and 4 outputs. There is a monitor volume control immediately next to these VU meters, so that controls that speaker volume. Next to that are 2 independent headphone sockets, each with their own volume control. If we move around to the back, we see the inputs 3 and 4, which are just jack connections. Next to that are the 4 line outputs, so 1 and 2 connecting the monitors. The MIDI channels, so the mini DIN sockets, there's an in and an out. The USB hub is where I connect my Arturia Keylab 61. The Keylab is quite a power-hungry keyboard, so that has its own separate power that's just plugged into a USB socket in the wall. Finally, on the back is the DC power in, which obviously is just plugged into the wall. In addition, there is a pair of loopback channels, which are channels 5 and 6, which are classed as virtual MIDI. So you can't physically plug something into them, but what it means is if I'm generating audio from a device, be it on the iPad or if I've got it plugged through the Mac, if I want the computer audio to be incorporated in something, I can just route that into these virtual ports, and then I can use that output within the mix itself. So very useful if you're doing podcasting with sort of background music and bringing other stuff in and out. So what we'll do now is I will just do a quick demonstration of the system in operation so you can see and hear it all working, and we'll wrap it up from there. So I hope you found this brief overview useful. If you've got any questions, please ask them in the comments below and I'll endeavour to answer them if I can. Obviously, if you enjoyed the video, there's a like button for that, and if you want to subscribe, there's a button for that too. In any case, thanks for watching. Take care now.